This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mailbag and also the official preview for the King and Queen of the Ring that's going to take place tomorrow night. So a bit of a combo show today instead of doing separate episodes. Figured I'd kind of lump it into one, and we're going to get going in just a minute. I want to thank all the new patrons, everybody who's joined us. Those of you who want to go ad-free, you can do that right now for free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. For free, you can get everything we have right now that we're going to put forward for the King and Queen of the Ring. That should be a lot of fun. And, you know, Triple H has addressed my concern with the King and Queen of the Ring in that there's really nothing on the line. It's just a bragging right. It's a little resume highlight. It's not really anything of substance, but that has changed. And it has changed because now King and Queen of the Ring is connected to SummerSlam. It has been connected to the SummerSlam title matches, and starting in 2026, SummerSlam is going to 2 nights. I'm sure you guys have already heard that. SummerSlam is now going to be the little brother of WrestleMania, or at least following the format of WrestleMania, making it 2 nights. I know there's conflicting feelings about this, but here's what I'll say. Number one, WrestleMania is its own animal, and WWE is doing all they can to mimic that. It is the biggest juggernaut they have. It is their top draw in the company, and they're trying to build off of that with SummerSlam and make SummerSlam the WrestleMania of the summer. They changed it to a stadium show a few years ago, and now in 2026, in 2 years, they're going to be in Minneapolis doing a 2-night event that is mimicking the WrestleMania event. And what I'll say to the people that are against this is, you know, that WWE, first and foremost, they're in the business of making money. And when they try to make money, it doesn't always jive with what you want to see creatively. All right. It just doesn't always happen. They're in the business of making money. 2 nights makes more money. It just does. You have double the gate. Yes, you have to pay rent, and there's staff and everything else that goes with staying there physically 2 nights. But the profit is obviously going to be double what they would make if it was just 1 night. SummerSlam also has the cachet. It's got that brand value that comes with what SummerSlam is, like Survivor Series does, like Royal Rumble does. And it's one of the big 4. So they're trying to make more money. I mean, that's what they do. That's their job, is to make more money. Okay. And if it comes at the same time as making us happy creatively, well, then all the better. But that doesn't always happen. Okay. So that's number one. Number 2, I'd rather see a 2-night show than one big SummerSlam show with 20 matches on it. That was the biggest complaint about WrestleMania, right? That it was too long, and it is, and it has been. And I've heard no one complain about the 2-night format. At least if there have been, it's been a very small minority. So the 2-night format has largely been very successful. SummerSlam, I think, will do just as well once the people that are complaining about it get on and realize, wait a minute, it worked for SummerSlam. Why can't it work for WrestleMania? Or I'm sorry, work for WrestleMania. Why can't it work for SummerSlam? So I think it'll be successful. I'd rather watch 2 shorter shows than 1 long one, I have to be honest. And it keeps you engaged for a weekend of wrestling. I mean, it just, I don't know. Now, the drawbacks are, of course, that, you know, you have to wait. You have to get through 2 nights of wrestling. If you're attending the event, now you have to pay for 2 tickets if you want to see the whole thing, right? Yeah, I mean, I understand it. But outside of those arguments, what's the argument against this being a good thing? Now, some of you are saying, well, look out. Here comes Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's going to be next. They're going to do the men's on one night, the women's on the next, or whatever. And that likely could be the case. I don't think it's any time in the near future, but it could be where they do end up, you know, having that happen. You know, and even if they do, so what? Like, who cares? I mean, are you complaining that you get to watch SummerSlam 2 nights in a row? Are you not happy with the fact that you get to see one of the biggest shows of the year twice? and you get to digest it in a smaller portion rather than getting one large portion that we all get exhausted by during the 6th match. So anyway, so I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, and the fact that the King and Queen of the Ring now has there's actually a prize to be had. Okay, they're making essentially the King and Queen of the Ring, they're making it into, yes, the WrestleMania of the summer, but they're making it like the Royal Rumble in the sense of what's on the line. Okay, massive title shots at the big pay-per-view, PLE. That's what's on the line here, and this is likely going to be a yearly thing. And when you think about it, it makes sense. That's been my big complaint about this whole tournament until Triple H made the announcement is what the hell's on the line? Who cares? Right? They're going to go around with a fake British accent for 5 weeks and carry a scepter and put a fake crown on and play dress up. Who cares? But now there's something really on the line. And I like that. And it really makes more sense too, because for someone who's going to win this tournament, to go through all these matches, all that hell, to win, and at the end of it, you have to put in more work than someone who likely got a title shot that night, it makes no sense. And now we have something that makes sense. All right, let's get into the mailbag again. We're going to get through as many emails as we can. As you have noticed from the Friday edition of the mailbag / PLE preview, it's Wednesdays are becoming increasingly difficult. Really, just generally, it's being increasingly more difficult for me to be able to get the mailbag out. It's it's tough because here's the thing: by the end of the 4 days in a row of my recording, it's just I'm beat and work and life and everything else. Okay, so it's just by that time I'm so burned out, I have no time to do it, and so I don't know. Maybe things will change in the future with the mailbag. I don't know exactly what the future of it'll be. It'll still exist. I just don't know in what capacity, because it's getting a little bit kind of out of hand, as far, not with you guys, but with my scheduling. So, all right. Well, speaking of the devil, let's get into the actual mailbag here. And who do we want to start with? I know I'll start right in the Patreon app. Those of you who still send me them directly through Patreon, which, by the way, you can do. Let's start with Frank, Patreon member. He says, I want to start off and say it. I feel like with Becky Lynch, her character is stuck in a Twilight Zone or a wormhole. Did you see last week during Drew's promo that Uncle Howdy showed up? Yes, I did see that. And it's got to be Bo Dallas, right? It has to be. Does it not? Okay. I think during King of the Ring, it should be Randy and Gunther. And the winner gets a shot at any title. And Randy's win. And Randy wins. Oh, and goes against Cody at SummerSlam. And women, you think Nia's going to win and go against Bayley at SummerSlam. That's all for now, with everybody saying WWE podcast. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a good way to put it. Becky Lynch has been in the Twilight Zone. She's stuck in this like infinite loop of her character where it cannot progress. And she's balking like a chicken last week. I mean, I don't know. Becky Lynch ain't doing it for me. At least this version of her. I'm not putting down her talent, her achievements, but her character currently, and for a very long time now, has been very, very, very boring. And it just has, and it's been on repeat. And playing her greatest hits that aren't so great anymore. And I'm just starting to slip with the Becky Lynch character. And now she's champion, which doesn't do really anything for anyone. Doesn't hurt anyone, but doesn't really do anything for anyone. Liv Morgan has been on the rise. I think she's a much more interesting character right now. Becky just needs a change. That's it. But Randy against Cody, as far as your proposal goes, yeah, let's go. Randy versus Cody? Absolutely. Or how about Gunther versus Cody? I think that's more intriguing. I think that's probably where they're going. Thanks, Frank. Let's go to Shahar. And she says, hi, Matt. I wanted to share with you wild predictions for Queen of the Ring and beyond. 1, at Friday Night SmackDown, I think Nia Jax will take advantage of Bianca's knee injury to beat her. There's a reason Bianca has been selling the knee injury for the past 2 weeks, and I think the reason is for Nia to beat her. It's kind of protecting Bianca. That's probably correct. I really am a big fan of Nia Jax, and I never thought I'd say that. From a character perspective, I think she has evolved incredibly. She's gotten to a point that I never thought she'd be at, and credit to her, credit to the company for that. I think she's the right person to win. Bianca doesn't need this by any stretch of the imagination. And to Bianca's credit, she has done an excellent job selling that knee injury week after week. It's been very, very well done on her end, so I would agree. Number 2, at the Queen of the Ring final, I think somehow Lyra is going to win. And I guess one way or another, she will get a title shot. That's a very safe estimation. I don't know if I concur with that yet, but I think that's one of the smarter decisions. 3, Becky will defeat Liv at Queen of the Ring because I think WWE wants her to enter Clash at the Castle as champion. But on that event, we get a triple threat championship match between Becky, Liv, and Lyra. And on that stage, in front of Becky and Lyra's friends, Liv is going to win the world championship. That's wild, I know, but it feels like WWE is preparing for a big moment for Liv. I don't think she deserves this at all, but that's for another day. One more thing. Next weekend, SmackDown will be in Albany. Are you going? Till my next time, my friend. Thanks, Shahar. Okay. Answering the question, am I going to SmackDown? Tickets are still available. I could get very comfortable, medium price seats. I'm still on the fence. It could be a game time decision. All right. And I will say that if I go, it's not going to be the seats I had before where people can see my sign. It's going to be much more relaxed because here's the thing. If I go, I might bring my son. He's 6. And he hasn't really sat down to watch wrestling before. It's a 2-hour show that he has to sit through that he's never sat through before. And trying to corral a 6-year-old might be difficult to do. I don't know. That's a game time decision. I would lean towards probably not actually because of the fact that I want to bring him, but I can't. His birthday is also mixed into this whole thing. So I don't know. I would say leaning no, but it's still in the air. As far as preparing a big moment for Liv, yeah, that's probably where they're going. They've seemingly been in that position for a while, and Liv did have a run with the belt, but it wasn't anything impressive. She was the one to beat Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey was compromised at the time, cashing in on Ronda. I mean, all that kind of thing. Liv now feels like she's in a much more secure position with her character, understanding who and what she is. So I think that they are probably preparing her. Plus, Rhea Ripley is the X factor here that, with Liv Morgan injuring Rhea on her way out, you have that underlying rivalry that's going to be renewed upon Rhea's return. And wouldn't you want Liv to be champion upon Rhea's return instead of Becky? Because if Becky's champion, like we've seen that, we just saw it at WrestleMania. The much more interesting story is Liv and Rhea by a long shot. So I think that you have a story there that, could end up being and resulting in Liv winning this Saturday night. That's my take. Now, Lyra, yes, as I said, yeah, I think that's a very safe assumption. All right. Thank you to both Frank and Shahar. Let's get to, I got to log into my other email here. I'm very prepared, as you can see. I have, let's see how many emails. Maybe too much to get through, but we'll see how many we can do. All right. Let's talk to Dino. He says, it's Dino from Scotland. The locations of, and by the way, guys, I'm begging you, please cut your emails down. You got to make them shorter, please. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start reading only part of your emails. And I don't mean a sentence. I'm not being a jerk about it. Like I don't need a sentence. I don't want, if you want to write a paragraph or two, fine. But if I have to use my scroll bar on my mouse to go past your email, like the body of your email, that's too much. Okay. I appreciate the passion, and by all means keep sending your emails, but even for patrons, short and concise and to the point is, I think, a best practice. All right. So Dino, you said that the locations of SmackDown from now until Money in the Bank weekend on July 5th and 6th are interesting. SmackDown is in Jeddah in this Friday, then my hometown of Albany on the 31st, Louisville, Kentucky on June 7th, Glasgow, Scotland on June 14th, followed by Chicago on June 21st. Then SmackDown heads back to New York, with the following week on June 28th, and then SmackDown on July 5th from Money in the Bank on July 6th. My point is it's quite an exciting run of SmackDown location-wise, with a mix of amazing international crowds sprinkled in with some of the best American crowds, and it's quite cool that SmackDown in Glasgow is only 2 weeks after SmackDown in Albany. Okay, well, I will say, I'm from Albany, okay, obviously. Been here all my life. I would not label us as one of the best American crowds, like by a long shot. All right, like we're okay. We've had some memorable moments here. The best Raw moment ever of the Attitude Era happened in Albany, at least voted on, right? With the beer truck with Stone Cold Steve Austin before WrestleMania 15. That happened right there. We've also had some awesome moments with Hulk Hogan returning to SmackDown and Stephanie McMahon signing Hulk Hogan on SmackDown in 2002. I remember that moment. We cheered for Hogan for like 20 minutes. Ric Flair won the Rumble in 1992 in Albany. There have been some significant moments, but I won't. I'm not. Look, I'm a realist. I'm not skewed by the fact that I'm from a place to believe that we're the best. Not at all. I'd say we're okay. All right, so I appreciate that, but we are far from the best American crowds. All right, we're okay. All right, but yeah, I mean that's kind of wild, right? You're going from Glasgow to Albany to New York to Chicago to Louisville. I mean, you talk about the amount of travel and miles, and geez, I don't know how these guys do it and gals do it. Pretty impressive. All right. Or where I lost myself. These superstars get to live amazing lives. Well, it's only amazing if you love to travel. If you hate travel, you hate this lifestyle, no doubt. You're attending SmackDown with your kid, right? It would be pretty cool if you joined Michael Ritter on his SmackDown review show to give your own in-person perspective. I believe his SmackDown review for the Albany show will be his 198th episode of SmackDown, with over here in Glasgow being his 200th review. That's a big one. What a massive milestone. Well, I appreciate that, Dino. And that would be kind of a cool collab. I don't think we've done a show together in quite a while. I haven't done a show with anybody except for obviously Anthony DeMarco on our Monday show in a while. And that's really on me because of my crazy schedule. I can't commit to a time, which is my problem. But yeah, if you're keeping count, it might be his 198th episode. He's always very consistent. I really appreciate Michael Ritter, who does an awesome job every week. And by the way, plug for his show. If you love football, which is coming up in just a few months, believe it or not, Football Function. Go check out his podcast. Give him some support. Give him some love. It's called the Football Function Podcast. If you want more of Michael Ritter talking about something other than wrestling. But again, if I go, I'm going with my kid. If I don't go, I don't go at all. So that's that. But it would be a fun collab. All right. What a massive milestone. Yeah, a quick fun fact before I move on. Michael Ritter and I both support a team that plays in green and is called the Celtics. Well, kind of. Michael's a huge fan of the Boston Celtics, while I support the Celtic Football Club from Scotland, also pronounced Celtic. And yes, it is the soccer club. So shout out to Michael Ritter and all the Celtic teams out there, regardless of which sport they play. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Boston Celtics, the NBA right now, are in the finals, the conference finals anyway. And they should have faced the Knicks, but the Knicks ran out of steam. So they're facing the Pacers. I do follow a little bit of NBA once it gets to, especially if it involves a New York team. And I'm following a little bit of NHL too, for those of you that care. I'm one of those bandwagon fans, admittedly, embarrassingly, right? The ones that if it's your local team that somehow makes it far, you don't really pay attention until everyone else does, and then suddenly you're the biggest fan of the team, right? That's called being a fraud, by the way. So I will absolutely admit I'm a fraud. So anyway, in regards to that belt that Cody Crybaby is holding, it should just be the WWE Championship. They need to completely drop the undisputed word altogether, because it literally isn't undisputed, is it? There's literally, a lot of literallys here, another heavyweight championship on Raw, so that doesn't make sense to me, and it makes it easier for all of us to just say WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. Michael Ritter suggested on SmackDown. Okay, so before I go on to your final point here, I have no problem with dropping it. It isn't undisputed, because by name it's not. And also, if you want to go by talk about semantics here, you actually have two world championships. Why? As I've said this before, you have obviously the World Championship on Raw, and you have the WWE Championship on SmackDown. But what does WWE stand for? Think about it. What's that second W? The first W. World Wrestling Entertainment. So if you're the World Wrestling Entertainment Champion, then you are the world champion. No. Also, if you want to talk about, well, no, that's just the champion of WWE. Okay, well, fine. It's just the champion of WWE. But then why call yourself the world champion on Raw? Because you're not competing with anyone outside of the company itself, right? You're not competing really with anyone else, any other promotion in the world. You're still locked into the WWE promotion. You're not competing with anybody else outside of the company. So, like, really, they're the same belt if you're talking about semantics. Now, lineage is another thing. With lineage, you have the Universal Championship that got absorbed into and merged with the WWE Championship, which eventually was called the Undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. It came way too wordy. They finally trimmed it down and landed on Undisputed WWE Championship champion, or just, whatever. But I would agree that if you want to just trim it down to WWE Champion, cool, great. Let's keep it normal. Let's go back to basics. That's cool with me. I don't need the undisputed part. But if you get rid of the undisputed part, then I think that the thinking is, well, the Universal Championship is going to be completely forgotten, because that's the reason of calling it undisputed is because the Universal Championship merged with it. But see all these like weird things, right? Semantics. It's all semantics, and if you care about such things, then it'll bother you. All right. Michael Ritter suggested on SmackDown Review that somewhat 3 weeks ago after the draft that WWE should return to brand-specific pay-per-views if they're going to take this brand split seriously, with the big four being the ones that involve all the stars from both brands. DJ Kuzmo said in the Discord chat that he agrees, and I do too, but I'm not sure I do when it comes to the international shows, because selfishly, when they come to my city, if I'm in attendance, I'm wanting as many big stars as possible, so I'm kind of torn. Do you remember when it was brand-specific pay-per-views a few years ago and we got pay-per-views every 2 to 3 weeks? If it wasn't every few weeks, it certainly felt like it. Let me know what you think. They did that experiment. They tried that. I don't think they're ever going to do it. No, so that's really two questions, though. Do I think they'll do it? No, I don't. They'll probably not go back to that, because you're really hamstringing yourself of star power for really no reason, other than, like you said, with the brand split. But if PLEs are going to be the one place that both brands can come together, I'll accept it. I think, to me, the more important aspect of respecting the brand split is just on a weekly basis, that they don't just have people randomly decide to go the other brand. No one cares. No one explains. That's what I'm more worried about, to really look at this and say they're taking the brand split seriously. They did that before. They've done that before with brand specific PLEs, and the star power does decrease just because you're taking half the roster with you. So I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. I understand that if the only benefit is, well, it's to take the brand split ultra seriously, I still wouldn't do it. Because like you said, you go to international cities and stuff, and they're like, oh, wait, is it Raw or a SmackDown roster? Instead of looking at it and go, oh, PLE. It also would take away the value of what a PLE is, which you look at it and go, oh, man, it's both brands on one show. It's more exciting. And also, like you said, if you do brand splits that serious, then you're also going to be, like you said, having a pay-per-view, a PLE every few weeks, and we don't need that. I feel like we're already in a rapid-fire mode right now. Plus, you would also have to make sure that you're only doing a PLE every other month on your brand. So that means you need to build for really 8 weeks instead of 4. It gets weird. I wouldn't do it. But I understand the need for it, or the want for it. Okay, one more thing. If I think Braun Strowman isn't going to be a part of this new Wyatt family that's coming, then him and Ricochet could be a solid tag team again and would be serious challengers for the tag titles in the near future while giving Ricochet purpose. I also wouldn't mind seeing the Creed brothers as champions. These are another 2 serious tag teams, in my opinion. I wouldn't mind either of them as tag champs. I don't know what's up with the Creed brothers. And I mean that from the perspective of every time they're out there, they kill it. They're getting such great crowd response without doing a damn thing on promos or character development. That speaks volumes to how good they are in the ring. And I don't understand either. Again, the character development isn't there, but boys, they're wrestling there. They are like amateur wrestlers fresh off the press fresh off the assembly line, stuck into a pro wrestling ring, and they understand how it works. They are athletic as hell. They're young. They've got all the tools. They just have had almost next to nothing when it comes to character development, which is the one hamstring they have. But Braun Strowman and Ricochet, hey, sure, fine, great. I really don't feel strongly about either of those characters. I mean, obviously Ricochet from a personal perspective, not a big fan of, but professionally, he's just a firework. And that's really what he is. He's been a firework, and I've said that since the first time I laid eyes on him. He's athletic. He's a good-looking dude, but that'll only carry you so far. And he's a one-trick pony when it comes to, or actually one-dimensional, I should say. He's obviously not one trick. He's one-dimensional. Everything is just about the moves and the crazy moves and maneuvers and being a highlight and all that, instead of effing winning or getting people to care about your character. Pretty important things when you're a wrestler that I think he's forgotten. But with Braun Strowman, he's kind of the same thing too. They've done some character development with him, but Braun Strowman is he's a big guy that's athletic as hell. And maybe, hey, if you put them back together, maybe there's something there. I wouldn't hate it. I really wouldn't. All right. Thanks, Dino. Let's talk to Clayton, another patron. And, I don't know. Are you a patron? Hold on. I got to prioritize patrons. Clayton, I don't know if you're a patron, so we're going to pause on you. Let's go to another patron I know is here. Let's go to Matt. He says, listening to your Raw review, and I completely agree. Sammy always yelling is kind of annoying. He's good on the mic, so I'm not sure why he always does that. Also, Chad Gable is up there with Drew as a top heel. He's doing great work, and I can't wait for Otis to turn. I think he could be a solid singles star if he gets a push. Yeah, he could. I mean, Otis has potential. The question's going to be, do the fans after the turn, after Otis finally snaps on Gable, do the fans stick with him? Or is it kind of a one-off after Otis and Gable, that's it? I don't know. I mean, there's more to Otis than meets the eye, or has met the eye over the last many years, and Vince viewing him as a comedy act and more about eating food, and all the stuff that he did with Otis during the pandemic era was just embarrassing. But as far as Chad Gable is just he's a wizard. Chad Gable is just awesome. I mean, he is a perfect heel. Even though he's undersized, he makes you still want to see somebody beat his ass. He's great. And Sami Zayn yelling, I don't know what it is, man. I'm a Sami Zayn fan from he's easy to like, as I've said. He's a likable guy. He's relatable. He's all these things. But Sami Zayn yelling, I mean, the second he gets on the mic, within 10 seconds, he's already yelling. Yeah, I appreciate the passion. But, every promo doesn't need to be yelling for you to get your point across. Thank you. All right. Let's go to David. Let's see. Yeah, David. He says, hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I attended Raw this week in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I noticed one thing. You certainly aren't wrong about WWE shows being very filled with more matches and less promos recently. Not a complaint at all, of course. My favorite part of the night was, of course, Jay's entrance, fittingly called main event-ish. As usual, I'll give you the demographic and what I've noticed in the last 3 events I've been to in 2024 so far. Not a lot of kids. I'm not sure if this is a trend in just my sections, but I have seen a lot of the older demographic, 50 plus, and young adults. Also, as usual, I'll ask how the crowd reaction came across. It was most certainly the best crowd I think I've been in attendance for, which is awesome in Greensboro, basically home for me. Also, I'm glad I'm not the only one who doesn't like Lyra on the mic. She feels like she's reading off a script and not a lot of the same issues you have, and a lot of the same issues you have with Becky's promos I have with Lyra. But I will say I love her in-ring work. Her match versus EO was one of my favorites of the night. Anyways, I'll keep going from going too long. And I hope you have a great week. We'll talk next week. P.S. Left some pictures of the night below, including some awesome shot of Jey Uso my girlfriend got. Well, very cool. Love the pics. A lot of fun. It looks like you had a lot of fun. I'm jealous. Live events are always something special. They just are. There's something about a pro wrestling event. And Lyra, hey, she's not great on the mic so far. Her first 2 weeks on the mic have been not great from my perspective, but in ring, she's gotten it done. In ring, I don't think there's a concern as of right now at all. But yeah, her in ring, her promo skills have been like very, very, prepared. Not my favorite. But the crowds, hey, that's interesting though. I mean, I don't know again if that's a trend, like you said. The sample size isn't very large, and if other people start reporting this to me with their events over the next several months, maybe it is a trend. But WWE is still PG. They're still trying to promote to the younger audiences, but they're also pushing the envelope of what PG is. Very much so. So we'll see if that trend continues. I would argue they should stay PG. I know a lot of people, TV 14, bring back the Attitude Era, bring back the blood. Hey, they've done blood with TV PG somehow. They have the cussing with TV PG somehow. But they're also labeled as PG, so the parents are thinking, hey, this is family friendly, and then all of a sudden you got somebody bleeding in the middle of the ring and saying, be this and be that. I can't say it on the podcast because it'll flag me, but you know what I'm saying? And they're cussing, and how many times The Rock comes out and cusses and all that, and then it's like, well, is this family friendly or is it not? So I don't know. I mean, but we'll see if that trend is actually a thing. All right, so let's go to our next one. Let's go to Darren. Darren says, hi, WWE Podcast family. It's been too long since I wrote in. Hope everyone's doing well. You and Anthony make a great argument for Logan beating Cody at King and Queen of the Ring, then having Cody win it back shortly after. It would allow Cody to have a new story and become a multi-time champion instead of just another Roman-like title reign. I would love for this to happen, but I'm not trying to get my hopes up. I'm also hoping for Bo Dallas and his new Wyatt family to make their debut. I think there has been enough QR codes. That's all for now. Yeah, I'm ready for it too. I'm done with the QR codes. I'm not even one that actually looks them up. I don't really like. I really don't. I mean, I know a lot of people are doing a lot of investigation, and I just wait for WWE to kind of tell me. I don't need to be one to know ahead of time and crack the code and all that. Not my thing. But for those of you that are, I mean, I would think everything has somehow, or has definitely rather, pointed to Bray Wyatt's group, legacy group, if you will, with Bo Dallas at the head of it, with Uncle Howdy or whoever. But Logan Paul, as I said, beating Cody at King of the Ring, I think actually has some level of logic to it. And if you guys are wondering how that's possible, go listen to Anthony DeMarco and I on last Monday's show, where we break down why Cody should actually drop the belt at King and Queen of the Ring. There is an argument to be made for that. If you want to hear that, go check it out. Thanks, Darren. Okay, let's go to DJ Kuzmo. Says he's back at it again. And finally, the King and Queen of the Ring tournament matches are coming to an end this Saturday, as these past 2 weeks of multiple tournament matches are like watching the NCAA tournament. Interesting to know. Who created this extensive bracket of matches? Because the processing of creating this was most likely not easy to do. Yeah, definitely not. Quick question. Does Braun Breaker get inserted as a last-minute replacement or placement in King of the Ring finals on Saturday, or does Creative rather insert him in the men's Money in the Bank? Also, shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. Hey, I don't, DJ, I'm trying, man. I reached out. I tried reaching out. I don't know what to do. Okay. I'm out of options. All right. I'll keep trying every now and then, but I don't want to be creepy. So I don't think Braun Breaker comes in any capacity. I think he's going to continue doing what he's doing. I think Braun Breaker is just going to continue wrecking people, injuring people. I don't know if he's a heel or babyface yet. I don't think they know. I think they're waiting for the fans to tell them. But Braun Breaker, he's kind of a enigma, not to, take something from Jeff Hardy, but he's kind of like that wild card, so to speak, on Raw, where he's just going to run roughshod. All of a sudden a spear's out of nowhere, and then he's going to keep blaming Adam Pearce. And I mean, it'd be funny if that's his whole thing, is even after the King of the Ring tournament's over, he still continues to just spear people and get angry about it. It'll just be like his thing that he can't let go of. He wasn't included. I actually found that kind of funny. Okay, what's your predictions and zero spoilers? The triple threat match for the Intercontinental title, you're saying that Sammy retains because, to me, the main story in this match is Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy, and whether or not Otis will cost Chad Gable and get pinned by Sammy via distraction. Bronson Reed seems like an afterthought in this match, and I was expecting him this past Monday to attack Sammy after his defeat, but he didn't show up. You're saying for the women's world title that Becky retains and that's it. However, Liv and Becky will most likely continue after this PLE, and ending at either Clash at the Castle or Money in the Bank. For the WWE Championship, you're saying Cody retains, but that the Rogue Bloodline attack Cody after the match to set up another rivalry with this group because there aren't a lot of credible heels on the SmackDown roster at the moment. King of the Ring finals. So you're saying, since I'm writing this email 2 days before the SmackDown semifinals of the King of the Ring in Jeddah, I'm predicting that Randy Orton defeats Tama Tonga on Friday, then faces Gunther on Saturday, and that Gunther gets the win over Randy to become King Gunther. And then fifth, and finally, the Queen of the Ring finals. You're saying that Nia Jax defeats Bianca Belair, since Bianca's knee will play a factor in her loss. And then you're predicting Nia defeats Lyra Valkyria to become the Queen Nia. Anyway, this DJ Kuzma signing off. Enjoy King and Queen of the Ring. I'll see you on the Discord chat on Friday. All right. I'll get to my predictions. Some of them I agree with, DJ. I won't say how many, but I do. Okay, let's go to Charlie. Well, no one more. I think you're my last patron. I might have one more. I think I have another. I might have one more patron, but we'll see. Charlie, what's up, everyone? Charlie from Milwaukee. It's that time again. It's time for another Saudi pay-per-view, and hopefully you can tell I'm just about as excited about another Saudi show as my grandmother is getting ready to deal with the family for Thanksgiving. That being said, here are my predictions. Liv is your new women's world champion. Tragically, Bianca Belair becomes Queen of the Ring and will start acting like a kindergartner going outside playing hopscotch at recess. Well, she's already doing that, Charlie. I mean, she's already doing that. The only difference is if that happens, she'll be wearing a crown while she does it. Although if you wear a crown, she can't twirl her hair. I feel like that would knock the crown off. So maybe she'll find a workaround. 3, Cody retains the WWE Championship. Gunther becomes our new King General of the Ring. He'll then proclaim that now he wants to challenge anyone that will give him a challenge. And now out comes Brock Lesnar, setting up a Brock versus Gunther match at SummerSlam. I feel sorry for the women competing on Saturday. First, they have to wear those ridiculous suits that make them look like they're getting ready to go scuba diving. Plus, worse than that, the crowds there don't even care about the women's matches. Also, why couldn't the Cody Logan match been a title versus title? You could have had Cody win it and have a 6-man TLC match at Clash for the United States Championship. That way, all the championships in WWE will be on TV every week. That's all for now. Hashtag no more Dusty Rhodes. Hashtag Red Sox Nation. I'll agree with you on everything except the Red Sox Nation, but hey, the Red Sox are a disaster. So I think you're being punished enough with the Red Sox, who just continue to do nothing when it comes to getting players and big time players and good pitching. Right? They just are a mess. Although they've won, did they win like 4 in a row or something? I think there are a few over 500, but the Red Sox need help. I mean, I'm obviously not rooting for them to get help, but if you're a Red Sox fan, they need to do something. They've done nothing the last few off seasons, like literally nothing. So anyway, we've got your predictions here, and I can't comment other than the Logan Paul and Cody. There is an argument to be made with Cody winning if that was the title, but again, Logan Paul's doing such a damn good job with the U.S. title, I wouldn't take the belt off of him. I'm not a big proponent of every title, though, being on the show every single week. Like, every championship doesn't need to make an appearance for me every week. That's how I feel anyway. But, all right. Let's go to one more. Clayton. Let's go back to Clayton. And let's see. Let's go to Clayton and then one more quick email, and then we'll be done for the week on emails. Clayton says, what do you think is WWE's plan with Punk? If I remember correctly, you thought they wouldn't put him a title on him, or maybe a mid-tier title. I like the new Drew and hope he gets a title with a good run. Do you think they'll have Punk screw him again? I'm not a fan of Punk because of his personal and political views and also his work ethic. The way he left WWE and his antics in AEW make me believe WWE won't trust him with the belt. Also, his wrestling is awful to watch. I'll admit his promos are some of the best, and I catch myself actually begrudgingly enjoying his segments with Drew. Well, I mean, so you don't like his personal and political views. I would concur with a lot of that. So you don't like his wrestling, you don't like his personal and political views, but you're saying he's, decent with the promos with Drew, so you'll tolerate it. And I mean, if that's the case, then isn't that enough to just at least enjoy the Drew Punk series? Because it is entertaining. They've done both a nice job. I don't know what the long-term plan is with Punk. I don't think the long-term plan is to make him any kind of long-term champion. I'll say that because he's injury prone. Clearly, he's older. The company's not about him anymore. He's not the future of the company. You know, especially coming off WrestleMania, the message should have been in the new era. Here's our new guys. Here's our new women. Here's our new future. Here's the direction we're going. And if Punk wins, it's kind of like a mixed message, mixed signals. I wouldn't actually advocate for that. But I think the long term with Punk is a few matches a year, promos, mixed in, and some big headline WrestleMania matches. And I think that's kind of where we're landing. I don't think Punk's going to go on any kind of full-time run at all, and nor should he. If you want to maximize your minutes and maximize the time you have with Punk, you have workload management with him. He's too old. I mean, that's it. That's all. It's not a slight on him. It's just age and mileage on the body. So, okay. Dennis, you'll be our final email. Quick and sweet. I hope you're well. The new PLEs seem to have only 5 matches at each event. What do you think of that? In my opinion, at least have 6. Give other wrestlers and stories some exposure on the PLE. I think it's great Chad Gable's in this heel character, and Otis will benefit from it when he eventually gets to fight back against Gable. So it's all subjective, right? Because I actually enjoy fewer matches and longer stories than more stories and, more matches and less time where it's rapid fire. To me, I like to understand the story better. It's easier to digest. The talent can take their time. I'm a big fan of that. I don't think everybody needs a jersey at every PLE. Okay, I just don't. They have a PLE once a month. And you can also do big matches on the live events. You don't need, they've shown that they don't have any hesitation when it comes to putting title matches on live on Raw or on SmackDown. They do that a lot. So it doesn't always have to be at a PLE to get featured or to have a match that's a big time match. As far as Chad Gable, Chad, I've already sung his praises. It's going to be a lot of fun with Otis. It's just a matter of when does he finally snap. I think we're getting close. All right, let's get to my official predictions for the event here and for the King and Queen of the Ring in Jeddah. I keep forgetting it's in Saudi Arabia. It's such a, I don't know, womp womp. Like, I don't know. Every time I hear Saudi Arabia, we all knee jerk and groan, don't we? We're just like, I don't know what it is. There's a lot of bad juju over there. Some pretty bad moments have been had there. Also, one of the funniest moments did happen there with Titus World Slide. One of the best moments ever in professional wrestling was Titus World Slide. So there is that. But hey, we'll get through it. We'll move on and we'll get back to some regular crowds here in short order. But let's get to the preview predictions part of this show. All right, let's get to it. And we'll start with the triple threat IC title, Chad, Sammy, Bronson. Yeah, I still believe Sammy's going to come out of this. Now, I expect the match to be a lot of fun. Otis is clearly going to be the guy that is the wild card. I think what's going to happen here that many of you also believe, which I think is a safe assumption and probably the correct one, you're going to have Otis try to help Chad. That's going to blow up in his face and cost Chad the match in some form or fashion. Now, then we'll have to interpret, was that intentional? Was he actually trying and it was bad luck and it blew up in his face? We'll see. But the reason that Chad Gable's going to lose this match and take the pinfall is because of Otis. Now, he may not actually take the pinfall, I should say. Maybe Bronson Reed would. But Sammy's going to hit the haluva kick on someone and get the victory. And it's going to be because of Otis, intentionally or otherwise. But I expect a lot of fun. I really expect this to be a really, really good match. If not, it could be match of the night contender. But there's another one of those coming up. Now, King and Queen of the Ring finals. King of the Ring, Gunther wins. Gunther, Randy, Gunther wins. And I think it's going to be because Randy gets screwed. Randy Gunther is a massive... When you think about that, we're overlooking it as just, Gunther's going to win and move on. And he should. But Randy Orton, I think, is going to have, if he gets past Tama Tonga, because I don't know, there's just no way you have Tama Tonga versus Gunther. It just doesn't make sense. So you have to have Randy Orton versus Gunther. And that's a big match in and of itself. Like, we're not even talking about Randy Gunther. Like, that's a massive match. Like, that in and of itself, like, I'm excited for the match itself, just what it means. And like on paper, we've never seen it. So there's that. But I think ultimately Gunther comes out on top and he wins. He's the king of the ring. He's the one who's going to get the title shot at SummerSlam, although they want me to think WrestleMania. We're going to have a Gunther championship match at SummerSlam, and then we'll talk about if he could win there down the line. Queen of the Ring, Nia. I have to go with you guys too. Nia Jax has been a vastly improved star over the last 6 months especially. She deserves it. I can't believe I'm saying that, but she does. She's been incredible with everything that she has brought to the table and building and helped build really towards WrestleMania as well this year with Becky and Rhea. Helping introduce Jade Cargill, playing her part at Royal Rumble, getting dumped over the top rope. All that. She's done a really fantastic job. And I think you could do a lot with Nia Jax as the winner. Being Queen Nia, being obnoxious, putting the crown on her head. There's some fun things you could do with Nia, I got to say. Now, the Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. This one's tough for me because Becky as champion it's just yawn because we've seen this version of Becky be champion so many times before. I don't care if she says, it's been 2 years. Yeah, but you're the same person you were 2 years ago, so it feels the same. I think Liv is the much more interesting character right now, especially with her interaction with Dominic Mysterio and the potential affair that Dom's having with Liv behind Rhea Ripley's back. There's that element. I actually am going to go against the grain here. I'm going to say Liv Morgan wins. I think Liv Morgan needs a somewhat longer reign as Women's World Champion to build towards Rhea's return in presumably a few months. I think now is the time to pull the trigger with Liv Morgan as Women's Champion. I know Becky's only held it a short time. I don't care. Fans aren't going to cry. Most fans aren't going to shed a tear that Becky Lynch lost. Sorry. So I think Liv needs it. The story warrants it with Rhea around the corner, with Dominic inserted into this. I think that's how it's going to happen. All right. Let's talk about the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Notably, also, there's no World Championship match. So that's interesting. But the undisputed WWE Championship match, which is WWE's own version, own language. So they are still considering it the undisputed WWE Championship, by the way. That's right on their own website. This is going to be, man, you talk about fun. If this isn't match of the night, the IC title match will be. If given 18, 19 minutes for this even, they're going to blow the roof off the place. I mean, Logan Paul has just overachieved in every conceivable area of his character, of the in-ring part of it. He does not have any business being this good. Cody Rhodes, obviously, we know what he can do in the ring. We know what he's capable of. He's a top-notch, top-tier guy in the ring. This is going to be so much fun, and there will be moments. There will be moments, my friends, where we believe Logan Paul could win. The brass knucks are going to play a big part in this. You know he's going to try to use them. Cody might catch him. Maybe the referee catches him. I want to believe Logan Paul's going to win this, but it just can't be. Cody has to win this because at least they have to win it because the way WWE thinks, the way they book, you would think Cody Rhodes has to win this. So it's not a lock it up and throw away the key type of decision, believe it or not. Even this close after Cody just won the belt, you'd think, he's not going to be, he's not going to be in jeopardy for a few more months. And this is one that you actually, again, can make an argument for Logan Paul to win. And I don't think he will. I think Cody will. But it's going to be a fun, damn fun match. One that's a lot of twists and turns with the brass knucks and Logan Paul's entourage coming out. Maybe the bloodline getting involved somehow. I don't know who's going to come to Cody's aid, though. Does Cody have an ally? Maybe he does. Maybe it's Randy Orton. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that all plays itself out. But I think Logan Paul will lose this match and Cody will retain. But it's not, it's if I was to put a percentage on it, I'd say it's about 85% that Cody Rhodes wins. but there is that small chance Logan Paul does. So I want to put that seed of doubt in your mind. So, all right, that'll do it. I know there were some voicemails here. I didn't get to them. I've been really, really terrible at that. But I will try to push those into the next episode here as we close out the show, and I'll put them maybe in the review show of our PLE for the Sunday night. So I'll aim for that. If you send a voicemail in and you're like, hey, you didn't get to my voicemail, what the hell? Hey, I'll put it in Sunday night show with the review of King and Queen of the Ring. But if you guys want to go ad free and get yourself a Discord server to chat with all the other wrestling fans on of this show, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast. There's a 1 week free trial. Also 1 week free trial on Apple Podcasts as well, or WWEpodcast.com. So, all right, everybody. Thanks so much. Enjoy the PLE. It should be a fun one, despite the fact that it's in our beloved Saudi Arabia. And I will talk to you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.